What's up, Brooklyn Squad? Hey, May May, baby. What's going on? How are you, my love? Hey, Brooklyn Squad, how are you? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Mm, let's get ready for this, baby. Woo. Put your prayer hands up for this one. Uh, Welcome to Brooklyn Squad, Real Life Crime of Real Life Drama. Real life crimes. Happy holiday, yes. Hey, Kathy B. Hey, Mamita. How are you? I hope everybody is going to have a safe and blessed holidays. Christmas is just this year went fast. This year went fast. It went so fast. Well, happy holidays to everyone. Stay blessed. Hey, my girl, Katie. You know, I was telling my daughter before, I was like, Christmas is usually for the kids. When she was here the last time, I said Christmas is usually for the babies. You know, uh, I'm not a big holiday thing because I didn't have that growing up, but I think just cooking and being with your loved ones, I don't think it's about gifts and stuff like that. I think that's for the little ones. You know what I mean? But it's really sad because I think it's supposed to be about gratitude. Just being thankful that you are alive, just being thankful that you have a moment to just sit back and reflect and be around your loved ones. Because this next case that I'm going to show you, two of those children will never, ever get a chance to have a Christmas. They will never get a chance to be around their father, their other sister, or anyone that ever loved them. They would never get a chance to open up Christmas gifts, go to school, hang out with their other uh, classmates, come home, do their homework. They would never have that chance. So I told my daughter, be grateful, right? That you have family that loves you. Be grateful you have the air to breathe. Be grateful you woke up this morning. You seen this case on a court show? It's an 8-year case, y'all. But we gonna bring it back over here because we've never done this case before. And I started doing reaction videos over here, May, because I love reaction videos. So this is a reaction video. And I'm gonna do this case and then we're gonna do part two the next time. Something else is supposed to come today. Oh my God, he's downstairs. Well, get him. Okay. I forgot I had an appointment today, guys. Fuck. Damn. Let's continue. I'm sorry. They gotta just come up. We're gonna do part one today, and then we're gonna do part two next time. All right. Oh man, this might be bad because it's about the TV thing, and he might have to disconnect everything and the internet. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, we're good. Dave can handle that. Okay, I'm sorry, guys, and we've been new, and I was just been doing so many other things, and I got issues with my own kids too. So I've been like, we understand you handle whatever you need to. If you gotta go, you gotta go. Y'all are so sweet, baby. I love y'all so much, but we ain't going nowhere. We gonna stay. We gonna handle this case. It's all good. Dave can handle that. It's about the TV and stuff like that, but it's okay. All right, so listen, guys. So welcome to Brooklyn Sky. We're like drama, we're like crimes. We're gonna talk about this case. I'm gonna show y'all. This is gonna be part one. So Michelle Blair, right? And the reason I said gratitude is because Michelle Blair has three children. Three children, and only one of them are alive. Okay? Only one of them is alive. Give me 1 minute. Give me a minute. Because I want to show y'all something also. Michelle Blair is from Michigan. Okay? Michigan. I'm going to type this in. Okay, here we go. Oops, let me cut this down some. Give me a minute, y'all. Yes, no, she's from Detroit. She is from Detroit. I'm sorry. Okay. So Michelle Blair is from Detroit, right? And she had three beautiful children, right? But she did the unthinkable to these babies. And I'm not gonna talk so much because I'm gonna show you what she did. And we're gonna do this as part one. So let's get straight into part one. Okay? Hmm, okay. Why would that? That's crazy. Really? All right, we're just gonna have to search again because I know I played it. Okay, they start playing with me here. There we go. Okay. For real? You! Everybody want to know? Yes, I did kill her!
The shocking courtroom clips you just witnessed document the unhinged behavior of Mitchelle Blair. Take note of her insane outbursts, as you're about to see a different side of her in stark contrast to this public persona that she never wanted to reveal to the public. The following interrogation footage has never been seen before. Mitchelle Angela Blair, a 35-year-old mother of four, appeared to be a dedicated and loving mother to the outside world. But a twist of fate revealed that not only was that a lie, but that she was also hiding an unimaginably disturbing secret in plain sight within her apartment. Michelle's lies came crashing down around her when she failed to pay rent for her East Side Detroit apartment. She was eventually served a court-ordered eviction notice. On March 24, 2015, a crew arrived at her apartment to carry out the eviction, only to find out that Mitchelle wasn't there. So they began moving her things out, including all of her furniture. In the living room, where the family spent much of their time together, the moving crew found a large white freezer. When the freezer was opened, to the movers' horror, all of Michelle's darkest secrets were exposed. Because of this disturbing discovery, they immediately called the police. Mitchelle was eventually found at a neighbor's apartment where she was hiding with two of her children, but the other two, 9-year-old Stephen and 13-year-old Stoney, were nowhere to be seen. Mitchelle was arrested and brought in for questioning, where she shared the horrific story in graphic detail. As she was being led away by police, Mitchelle said to them, "I just want you to know I'm not evil. It was just an evil act." The following footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney and former criminal prosecutor, a licensed clinical psychologist, and a former licensed professional counselor. It's important to
So I'm sorry to say, I said she had 3. She must have had 4 kids. She must have had 4. Has anybody else heard about this case besides May May? Kathy B and Katie, have y'all heard about this case? Okay. I'm going to continue.
note that the police department made some redactions to the following footage, but we added context throughout for your viewing. In order to protect the identity of the alleged victim, we will be referring to him as Michelle's youngest son and by the pseudonym Alex throughout this case.
Just water or pop or something?
No, if you guys have any Vaseline, just small lips.
I got no Vaseline.
Just water then.
Just water?
Can I ask you a question? Is any way my aunt could be in here?
Mm-hmm.
She was an ex-police officer. I just want her to hear it from me.
She's here. We're talking to her. That's okay. Just have a seat, okay? We'll be right with you in a second.
An officer uncuffs Mitchelle and offers her water. Both are gestures of goodwill. These gestures are meant to keep her from shutting down and keep her comfortable to get her talking.
Just have a seat right there, guys.
Thank you.
That's why they do that.
I'm gonna shut this door.
Mitchelle wears her hood pulled up, perhaps to hide from the situation and feel less exposed. The room is intentionally stark with nothing but a table and chairs. Mitchelle is very soft-spoken and cooperative. It's noteworthy that she was concerned about giving a message to her auntie. Mitchelle seems concerned to ensure that her auntie heard from her first. Mitchelle is left alone in the room for about 20 minutes. She scooted her chair back and moved herself further from the table, suggesting she's trying to distance herself from the interrogation before it's even started. While she waits, her hands touch her stomach, signaling that she may be feeling anxious and is seeking comfort, which is understandable for someone sitting in an interrogation room. She sits extremely still for several minutes, which may indicate that she's very focused and possibly preparing what she's going to say. Although some dismiss body language analysis as pseudoscience, it's used by the FBI and CIA during interrogations. When the CIA is interrogating an individual, they look for clusters of 3 or more indicators that occur in either quick succession or all at once. These indicators can be signs of discomfort or uncertainty in what the individual is stating, rather than indicators of deception. It's extremely important to note that you cannot detect deception through body language analysis alone.
If you have an hour this week, you can learn 100
Wow.
songs on the piano by learning just 4 chords. These.
You know, I'm glad that this is my first time watching the interrogation of this part. I've seen something else a long time ago, but I've never seen this part. I haven't seen a lot of her stuff actually, so this is all new when I'm watching a reaction video with you guys. You know what I mean? And the fact that he said the officer gave her water is to make her feel comfortable enough to open up. I ain't never thought of that before because they do that a lot. Every time you're in the interrogation room, we always see them offering water. You know, that makes sense though. It surely makes enough sense.
I love you.
This is the second time she's whispered, "I love you, Alex," which is the name of her youngest son. She may be feeling worried about when or if she's going to see him again.
Hello. I'm Officer Diaz. You doing okay? Got some water? Yeah. Okay. Did you eat today? I'm okay. I'm okay? I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, if you don't mind, okay? Can I my kids still here? You know what? I can't answer that right now. But I can find out. As soon as we're done, I'll make sure you know all that information, okay? I just wouldn't want to tell my aunt to her face. Because I created a big distance between her and she honestly never did anything but love us. And I created that distance with her so I can hide it. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So she thinks that I'm mad at her and don't love her. I'll make sure you get, not the case. You just want to make things right. I just want her to know that for her. Okay. Because she loves me so much, she don't have kids. Okay. And I do that to her and I remember her face. Okay. Let me, I got to take care of this first, okay? And then you could tell me anything you want to take, but I got some, administrative things that I gotta let you know about, like your constitutional rights.
The officer stops her as she needs to Mirandize her before she implicates herself, and without hearing her Miranda rights, any statement she makes may be inadmissible. The officer has Mitchelle read the Miranda warning out loud to show that she's literate. It's imperative that the officers make it clear that the suspect is Mirandized properly, which means they were both informed of and understood their rights before agreeing to waive them. Despite the police never making it seem this way, you're waiving serious constitutional rights, and the courts take this very seriously, so it must be done properly.
Did you graduate high school? No. Up to what grade of schooling do you have? I want to say 10th, maybe.
The officer is professional, but not particularly friendly. She's a little gruff and serious, but that appears to just be her personality and not intentionally related to the interrogation. The station likely sent a female officer to speak to Mitchelle, as they may have felt that she'd be more open when speaking to another female.
Do you know if my kids' names were released on the news yet? Ma'am, I've been in here, so I don't think the dad knows. Yeah, and I was trying to keep it. I gave them the number and everything. To who? To their dad. To his dad, you know. Okay, I'm just gonna ask you some quick questions, just about you, basically. What's your first name? Mitchelle. M-I-T. M-I-M-I-T-C-H-E-L-L-E.
The officer is getting background information to try to get her used to talking. Once a suspect begins talking, it's harder for them to stop. It's always important to begin with questions that they will be more open to answering instead of jumping right into the facts of the crime. This also helps to build rapport. The officer likely has most of this information already, but wants to get more specific details, and also wants to get a sense of how candid Mitchelle may be. She may also be trying to ascertain her competency regarding criminal responsibility due to the nature of the crimes and the possibility that Mitchelle has mental illness.
What color is your hair? Can you put your hoodie down? I have any hair. Okay. Dark brown. Okay. You just put brown. Bring your hoodie down. Yeah, just leave it off. Yeah. Are you cold or something? No, it's just, look at my hair. You feel like you're sitting here with my head, you know. So you said, okay. I'm just so used to being. You have any body scars?
So that's just to clear to see if she has any mental illness or she could comprehend in case her behind has to go on trial. Am I correct? I mean, you know what I mean? Oh, okay. Look, I'm learning a little bit over here now. Okay. Because they could use that. Right? They could use that. Because if later on they usually be in the courtroom saying like, oh, my client have some type of mental illness, or she can't stand trial, or you know how we seen it go on in court, you know. But with that right there, that little testing that they doing, that would sure know, she's fine, you know. Interesting.
Tattoos. What's on your chest?
Yeah, I gotta stop and talk a little bit because it says a reaction.
What's it say? Trust no one.
You too, guys.
What's on your back? Something ridiculous. Like what? Is it wording or a picture? Wording. What does it say? I have to tell you. Yeah. I have to show you. It's ridiculous. Okay. I mean, it's up to you. I got this covered up. Stephen Barry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm right here. What's that one? Just the kids' names. This is for their dad's name, but I just cross it out. Okay.
Asking general questions that are easy to answer may help put Mitchelle at ease before the actual questions relating to why she's here begins. It will also help the interrogator establish Mitchelle's baseline and observe her behavior when she knows her answers are truthful. This will help her dissect Mitchelle's responses and body language later and gauge if she is being honest. The officer asks her about her tattoos. What someone permanently inks on their body can be very telling about who the person is. Mitchelle has "trust no one" tattooed on her chest. This provides a lot of insight into her mindset. I typically don't like to make any definitive conclusions about tattoos because people choose words or phrases for different reasons. But it seems that this type of phrase might be significant. It could indicate that Mitchelle has had a tough past with a limited support system, or she's been betrayed by people close to her that she should have been able to trust. Mitchelle is embarrassed about the tattoo on her back, but still shows it to the officer, which proves she has a respect for authority and will likely continue to be cooperative.
Do you have any amputations? No. Do you use any narcotics? No, you mean like drinking? No, like drugs, illegal drugs. No. I've smoked weed before. I have no idea where he is, his number, or anything. I don't talk to him. And honestly, I don't talk to my mother.
Mitchelle is estranged from her immediate family, which is something that could indicate a problematic personality or possibly a dysfunctional childhood or family life. It's likely that her support system is limited, which is problematic as she's a single mother with incomplete education, and she likely needs help. The lack of relationship with her parents could also indicate, like the "trust no one" tattoo implies, that she's been betrayed by the people she should have been able to count on in her life.
And how many sons do you have? One. I had two. Your daughters? I had 2 girls and 2 boys. What's your
She do got 4.
What's your daughter's name? How old is she?
She's 17.
She stay with you?
Yes.
She got a phone number?
No, no phone. She's here.
Okay.
You know.
You got a boyfriend or spouse?
No.
What's your ex? The father. Is that your ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
So you have 4 children altogether?
Yeah.
None of them are in school?
No.
Where are your other 2 kids, Stoney and Steven?
At my house. At the old house.
Where in your house are they?
Freezer.
Who put them in there?
I did.
Mitchelle lowers her voice but bluntly answers. Her lowered tone indicates shame, but she says this with no real emotion otherwise.
Freezer.
She's forthcoming and appears to be willing to tell the truth right away, which is somewhat unusual in interrogations. Instead of blaming anyone else for putting the children in the freezer, she's taken responsibility for that part of the crime right away. When the moving crew first opened the freezer, they found a teenage girl's frozen body inside. She was completely naked and covered in frost except for a large black plastic bag that was placed over her. Her head was pressed against the inner side of the freezer wall, where there were bloodstains next to her face. A long piece of black fabric, possibly a silk scarf, was still fastened around her neck, and there were notable injuries to her throat, her right cheek, right brow, her bicep, and her chest. Under the girl were several blankets, but because her body was frozen to the side of the freezer, only a portion of the blankets could be cut away. But the police were able to cut a hole, which revealed another frozen body hidden under the first. This one, a preteen boy. Neither body was able to be removed from the freezer, and instead, the entire thing was sent to the Wayne County Medical Examiner.
Why did you do that?
Because they were.
What happened? What did I do? Hold on, y'all. What did happen? What did I do? Oh, okay, here we go. This monster puts her beautiful children in the freezer. Y'all heard her? She put her babies in the damn freezer, y'all. This is insane. When we think it can't get any worse.
What's the other thing?
When you say they, who are you referring to?
Mitchelle alleges that two of her children, Stephen and Stoney, were inappropriately touching and assaulting her youngest son, Alex. It's important to note that none of Mitchelle's claims about Stephen and Stoney have ever been substantiated, and her allegations could certainly all be fabricated. If this is true, this behavior is extremely disturbing, and why her older kids would do this to their sibling would need to be explored. Behavior like this shows signs of extreme trauma, mental illness, or is behavior that may have been done to them, as kids will often do to others what was done to them. It's extremely rare for children to assault their sibling without them being victims of this kind of abuse themselves, especially when they're this young. Since Mitchelle's report of Alex being abused by his two siblings was never substantiated, this point in the interrogation could really just be the beginning of Mitchelle's fabricated story. A story that she either knows is a lie, or a story that she is convinced herself is true. Maybe Mitchelle is delusional. Maybe this fabricated story has helped her cope all this time with what she did to her own children. Delusions serve many purposes. Oftentimes, it helps the affected person escape a painful reality or cope with fear, guilt, or shame.
And I didn't find out it was going on, but it had been going on for years. Since I was in diapers.
It seems highly unlikely that if this were true, Mitchelle wouldn't be aware of this occurring. The child would have very obvious injuries. In addition, this family all lived together with their mother in a small home, not attending school, and she wasn't working. It would be very difficult for kids to do the alleged actions routinely and for years without her knowledge. Mitchelle is either extremely neglectful, in denial, or not being fully truthful about her awareness of this situation.
How did you become aware that he was getting?
I came home one day. Was basically saying, "Come look what he's doing." He wasn't doing it. By the time I went in the living room, but she said, "Show mom what you was doing." So he had two little wrestle men.
Mitchelle describes how her son was using the two dolls to show her the inappropriate things his siblings were allegedly doing to him, before moving on to the topic of
Stop Googling how to make money online and looking into things like drop shipping and consulting, affiliate marketing.
when this first happened.
When was this?
This was a while ago. This incident didn't just happen.
When you say a while ago, was it a year, 2 years, a month?
Around there.
Around.
If it did happen, you decided to kill your children? That's the best that you could do, and put them in the freezer? No therapy, no getting help. That's the best that she can do. Child, please.
Where?
Year or two. I don't know why he acted it out like that. It's just, I don't want nobody to think that anything's wrong with my son. You get what I'm saying? Because there's nothing wrong.
No, nobody's making any judgments. I just want you to tell me what happened. Nobody's passing any judgment.
I know,
okay?
because like to read it, when they read, they're not going to understand. Like,
No, listen. That's why I want to record exactly what you tell me, okay? So nobody's just passing any judgment on your son or on you or anybody, okay? We just want to know what happened, okay? So just feel comfortable telling me what happened. I want you to make nothing up or think about how it's going to look. I just want you to tell me so we can help you, okay? And we can help your son if he needs it.
The officer tries to ease her concerns about how this will sound, so Mitchelle continues to talk and is as honest as possible. She frames it by saying they want to help her. However, the officer is not there to help Mitchelle. Mitchelle sounds a bit more distressed here. She's more emotional now than at any other point throughout the interrogation so far.
and after he told me, he said, he came in his face, and I said, "Anybody do that to you?" And he said, "No." And then he put his head down and he said, "Yes." I said, "Who the f-?" You know what I mean? I was upstairs. So I went upstairs with him, and I asked him, "Was you your brother or your effing brother? Was you your brother?" And
So you asked somebody did that to him?
yes. And I'm like, "Why are you playing like that?" I told him, "That's nasty as hell. Why are you playing with that?" And I said, "Did somebody do that to you first?" He said, "No." And he had his head on and he said, "Yes." And I asked him who, and he said, I just went straight upstairs with him, well, all three of us. And I'm asking, and he said, no, he's lying. Like, no, I'm not. You know, so I'm looking at the both of them. And I said, what? Because my understanding was, you got to understand, a lot younger than she was like over a year ago. And he had to be quiet about all this time. So when he's telling me, he's getting loud, and he's like, yes, he did. Yes, he really did this to you. Why didn't you tell me? Because they said they was going to kill me and beat me up. I told him to tell me the truth before I beat the hell out of him. And he says, well, I on him, but that's it. And then he said, no, it's not. I just remember walking out the room. Oh, I mean, I remember everything else. I'm just saying, it's like, I couldn't say I wasn't like out of my mind. You understand?
When do you think this was?
Roughly 2 years ago.
What did you do at that point?
I sat on the floor for a while by the edge of the door, and I just remember I kept going, what the f***? I told my man, I said, tell me the truth.
You say you went outside and sat on the floor?
No, I went in the hallway. Like, okay, I was in his bedroom when we were talking to him about all this, because that's where he was at. And I just stepped like in the hallway between the door and, you know, like the threshold, and I sat on the floor. And I'm looking at them like, what the f***? This is your brother, you know? So I asked, are you telling the truth? And the way he was crying, he just wouldn't stop talking. He said, yes, you do. You're in my bed. But they did this to him every day, every night.
What did you do after that? Did you take any physical action towards?
Not just yet. And then I just closed the door, and I just kept looking at him. I said, I can't believe you. I took him downstairs because he was telling me more and more stuff, and it was not making sense. It's just, I got through telling me everything. I went back upstairs, and I opened the door because I fully believed him, and I know that's what he had did. He told me things that, after finding out, now it makes sense. You get what I'm saying? It's like certain things, I'm like, what's wrong? Or he crying, or he fell off the bunk bed, and I'm fussing at him, take toys away from him. It's like I'm fussing he didn't even do.
What did you do when you went back upstairs?
I punched him. I just started punching him. I just kept punching him.
At what point did you stop punching him?
Oh, no, that's not how he...
You did, Kathy B?
I stopped punching him because he looked up and he said, okay, I'm ready to tell the truth.
Oh, wow.
After she says that Stephen admitted he was ready to tell the truth, Mitchelle opens up both hands quickly and turns down her mouth. This body language may indicate that she's seeking approval from the detective, or as if she's saying, see, I told you.
I said, this is what you did, Dad? He just said yes. I punched him again.
Although it's possible that Stephen did abuse Alex, it's also possible that he falsely
No, thank you. I don't smoke or drink or curse or do drugs anymore.
confessed only to escape the punishment. It's convenient for
So she decides to abuse him and beat him regardless, instead of going to get him some help. So you not only abuse him and beat him, you put your fucking kids in a damn freezer. Like, come on now. This is insane. A monster mother. The hell?
Mitchelle to report that she supposedly got a confession out of Stephen because she might believe that this adds validity to her story of the alleged abuse towards Alex.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
How long been in the freezer?
2 years. I want to say 2 years.
You said almost 2 years or 2 years?
I want to say 2 years.
How long? Been in the freezer.
Yeah, I know what I've been through.
About
It happens in the
about a
family.
year.
It does.
She died when?
Yeah.
On May 25th.
Of what year? Last year?
It would have to be. I'm just a blur.
This was apparently her daughter, who Mitchelle stated died May 25th, but was unable to recall the year. Mitchelle then said that the other child was killed August 30th, 2012. Despite it all being a blur, she was ultimately able to remember the dates. It's shocking that no one reported either child missing, and shows the isolation these children must have been living in for no one to notice they were missing for so long. Mitchelle must have been lying about where they were, or they had very little, if any, interaction with other people. One of her neighbors eventually came forward to speak with investigators, and she explained that Mitchelle told her she'd made Stoney and Stephen move away to live with their aunt because they'd been doing mean things to Alex, such as taking food away from him. As well, one of Mitchelle's friends was interviewed by police, and he stated that any time he asked about where Stoney and Stephen were, Mitchelle told him that they were upstairs in their room or at an aunt's house. According to Alexander Dorsey, the father of Stoney and Mitchelle's surviving oldest daughter, when he asked about Stoney, she also gave the same answer, that she was living with an aunt. Apparently, these explanations were enough to keep people from asking more questions about where the two children were, because no one seemed to realize they were gone.
How did you?
I can't, like, I was holding him when he died.
After she's asked how Stephen died, Mitchelle's hands go from being open to in tight fists. Generally, the more space between someone's fingers, the more relaxed they are. As someone's stress increases, the fingers instinctively close. Having one's hands balled up as Mitchelle does indicates high stress.
Just holding him.
What caused him to die? I didn't ask you what you were doing. I asked you, how did your
I don't
son?
know. What I'm saying is, he died from.
It's been
The officer's tone is noticeably harsher when she confronts Mitchelle with the fact that she didn't directly answer the question she was asked. This asserts her authority and control over the interrogation.
From what I inflicted on him, but it wasn't. He didn't die right then. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I couldn't tell you specifically what happened inside.
Well, you say you afflicted on him. What did you afflict?
I was punching him.
So you say you don't know what caused him to die?
No, I know I did. What I'm saying is, I don't know specifically what was going on in his body. You get what I'm saying? Is there some things that we can, I don't want Ron to know because she'll feel bad and it's not her fault in any way.
It's just me and you talking.
Okay, well, like I said, my aunt loves us, but after it happened, I called her. She was mad at me because, you know, it's just, she wouldn't get my life together, period. Okay? So I called her and I asked her if anything happened, you know, would you take the kids? She was like, Angel, you've always leaned on me, which I do, and she's tired. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tired of kids. That's definitely not. She was saying is just get yourselves together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want her to like hear that and think, oh my God, if I want to tell her, but I'm like,
What did you want to tell her?
Out everything, because, you know, she was a cop. She's the first person I called, and I couldn't even say it to her.
The officer is relatively non-responsive to Mitchelle. She's giving a confession without any hesitation, and therefore the officer just needs to listen and ask follow-up questions. Interrogation techniques so far have not been needed. Most suspects are not this candid about their crimes, and at the very least will try to claim the killing was an accident. The officer is trying to refrain from any reaction to what she's hearing so that Mitchelle doesn't feel judged.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but you still haven't. I asked you the question, how did your son die? Okay, so you did something. I need you to tell me specifically what it was. So you just punched him?
Like, just punching him to keep him at, yeah.
The officer tries to get Mitchelle back on track as she's not making much sense. and seems to need to be redirected back to the relevant issues.
I mean, what did you do? You punched him?
Basically everywhere. I choked him.
Right, because I'm thinking the same thing. Like, how did they die? I know that she put them in the freezer, but the autopsy is going to show everything. So now she's confessing without them even pressuring on her too much. So she said that she punched them, and now she's saying that she choked them. So she probably suffocated him and choked him choked him out. And that's probably what KILL him eventually, allegedly.
With your hands?
Yes.
This shit ain't no allegedly, though, but
That's not how he died.
What else did you do?
I'm saying,
so you punched him everywhere, you choked him. What else? I mean, you want to come clean, right? You want to get this off your chest. It's just me and you talking. Okay, nobody's here to judge you.
It's not about the judge, and I know it's
painful. Is it painful to you?
No, it's evil.
It's evil what you did? Is it evil?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're judging yourself.
When the officer sees Mitchelle freeze up, she tries to get her talking again by making it seem like this is just a conversation between the two of them. In reality, it's being recorded and will be shown to judges, lawyers, and jurors if necessary to obtain a conviction. The officer gets her to admit that what she did was evil, to show Mitchelle understands right from wrong. This is a legal requirement to be held criminally accountable for one's actions.
Because I love them.
You love them, okay?
Eve Online on Mac immerses you in a universe with thousands of star systems like never before. Follow a path of your own choosing and become a titan of industry.
Oh, man. That's how I feel. Like, y'all know. Anybody who know me know about my kids. And it's like, and then turn around, all this time I'm keeping y'all away from everybody else. And it's y'all. It's like amongst yourselves. There's no other outsiders. There's no outsiders that ended up hurting y'all. And that's the one thing I've always been worried about in my life. Because that's what happened to me. That's why I don't talk to my mother. You know, they didn't do anything when shit happened to me.
We're gonna get to that, but I need you to take it off your chest, and I need you to tell me what you did. You told me some stuff, but
like a bathtub, right? Hot water.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like this. I stood him in there.
In the hot water?
Yeah.
No, did you
got right back out?
Did you run the hot water first and then dump him?
What do you mean?
How?
I grabbed him in the bathroom and I was still talking to him. And then I'm asking him, like, why are you doing his sex? I hate him. Okay. We're just talking about it, and I cut the hot water on. And I'm still talking to him, but it's like I'm threatening him. And I didn't plan on doing it, but I did it. It's like, I can't explain it to you.
So you turned the hot water in the bathtub?
Yes. And if you don't tell me everything, and tell me exactly why, and just everything, like what you've been doing.
Did you put him in the bathtub?
I stood him up in there.
You stood him up in there?
Yeah. So his feet got really messed up. It was basically a rotation of that, punching him, just hurting him. He's skinny.
How long did that go for?
In total, after I found out, he was in there 4 or 5 days. And I made him stay in his room. I took him food because I didn't know what to do. So I called my aunt first to see, but I ended up, I guess, checking out, and I didn't tell her. She knew nothing of what was going on.
Mitchelle admits to premeditation and how she harmed and burned her son over a number of days. She wasn't acting in the heat of the moment when she was informed about the assault, which makes her guilty of first-degree murder. This admission was only after the detective insisted and kept asking Mitchelle what else she did.
Thank you, Kathy B. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm over there talking. I was saying that I said first degree murder I believe is when when you plan it. You know what I'm saying? And then I believe second is when like you didn't plan it, it just happened or something like that, I believe. And another thing is I saw an interview where she was so mad. She sounded like the devil, and it sounded like she hated one of those kids so bad. I thought this was the interview. I never seen this one, so I'm not sure, but we'll see that one in the part two. But this one is she's more calm and stuff like that because this is the first one when they first brought her in. So yeah, she more calm. But I saw one where she was like, you could tell that she couldn't stand one of her children. I forgot which one it was, but it was crazy. But let's continue, y'all.
Started telling me everything, you know. He said he said he took his dad away from him. It's just a lot of things. Like we talked for a very long time and just told me a lot of stuff, and I just had to go downstairs.
The stuff that her oldest son told her may have been true. However, it's also quite possible that it was made up and was just his attempt to stop the torture. He may have felt like if he just admitted to his mother what she already suspected and believed was true, that she would stop punishing him. He'd already tried denying the abuse, but that didn't work, so he may have been trying another tactic in the hopes of getting a different result.
How long after that incident does Stephen die? How long? Okay, so you beat him up the one day, right? And then 5 days go by, you beat him up again?
No, because it's mixing. The hot water was the night before, the afternoon before.
Mm-hmm.
It was around 1 something in the afternoon.
So are you telling me, because when I asked you what exactly did you do to...
Basically, that day when I found out, I messed him up. He was still walking around functioning.
Mm-hmm.
He was just in that room. And then the more and more started telling me throughout the days and everything he remembers since he was eating Cheerios.
The officer gets Mitchelle to admit he passed away after the extensive abuse to show she had ample opportunity to get him help if she regretted her actions, but she chose not to.
I've been calling around
First degree
to see what to do. When I asked the police, when it's two brothers, I put it in the scenario as somebody else's situation.
Mm-hmm.
And if one brother was in the other one, can y'all take the little one to jail even though he's a minor?
Why would they take the little one to jail?
Not jail, but like juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
Calling the police suggests that she may have had some conflicting feelings about what she was doing. However, these doubts weren't enough to stop her from continuing. After hearing Mitchelle's hypothetical, the police should have at least come out to investigate the situation and speak to the children. A simple welfare check may have saved their lives.
Exactly.
This case shows many flaws in the system. And sadly, this isn't the only example of a missed opportunity to save these children's lives. Back in 2005, the Michigan State investigated Mitchelle for allegations of child neglect. At that time, her eldest child would have been around 5. The claims of abuse must have been somewhat substantiated because Mitchelle was referred to counseling, but her children were not removed from her home.
Oh, I'm trying to get a timeline here, because you do these things to him, right? How long do you do these things? You assault him, you put him in the water. How many days go by before he dies?
I want to say no more than a week.
The officer goes back over the entire story Mitchelle has told to solidify her story and make sure it's clear and the timeline is explicit. When things occurred, it's important to show premeditation and to show the long and serious suffering her children endured. Mitchelle sits in silence as the detective continues writing. At this point, she's sitting with her head down. Maybe the emotional exhaustion of the interrogation is starting to really set in.
So you said the first day you punched him several times. The second day you didn't touch him.
No.
But the third?
The second day I was like throwing up and was really, I had been drinking So if I could, like, from the first day, period, I basically couldn't get up.
You say you was throwing up?
It's like when I get up, maybe I would have went back in there, but
Did you say you were throwing up?
yeah, the only reason I didn't go, honestly, only reason I didn't go back in there the second day, because every time I got up, I'm throwing up, and I'm sick, and
But then the
But if I
third,
hadn't had
the
been
fourth,
sick,
and
I
fifth
would've
day,
went back in
you
there.
continue. The following days, you continue to assault them. Is that correct?
drinking.
But did you continue?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do? The same thing?
I was going back for just punching him, basically, and choking him.
Typically, when these sorts of horrific crimes occur, the perpetrator is often under the influence or had been using substances close to the time the crime occurred. She also said she was throwing up the second day of the abuse, and the only reason she didn't continue abusing her son the second day is because she was feeling sick.
Yeah, and it was like, this is how it went, like, I'll talk to him for a second, and he'll say something, and I'll start punching him. And I'll stop, and then I'll start talking to him again. And then it's like no answer he gave was.
Who witnessed this?
Stony.
And who else?
Was downstairs, but she witnessed.
Sony and
Yes, well, it was downstairs, but you mean me doing this to Steven?
yes.
Yeah, she saw me punching him.
Saw you punching him?
Yes, both of everybody. It wasn't the first day though, because I had told her to go downstairs with the girls. But at one point, yeah, they did. Everybody saw that.
Mitchelle now admits to someone witnessing her assaults on her son, which will be useful to corroborate her admission. If the witness was a minor, she'll also be charged with endangering the welfare of a minor. A child witnessing abuse is extremely damaging to them mentally and emotionally.
At what point do you put Stephen in the freezer?
After he died. When I came back in the room, he says, I just throw up.
Say that again?
So when I came back from him, he says I have to throw up. So I walked him to the bathroom. He didn't throw up, and he says I have to poop. He didn't poop. So I just took him back in the room, and he laid back down. And his breathing it sounded weird. It was just, and I put my hand right here on his chest, and his heartbeat was like, it was crazy. I put my ear up to it, and it was like, and he's just like, he's going like this.
So he was fading out?
And I tried to do CPR on him.
You tried CPR on him?
I
While
tried.
he was still alive?
You know, these parents really, they really get me going when they say I tried to do CPR on him. You intentionally, you purposely wanted to murder your kids. Now all of a sudden you have a heart and want to bring them back to life? Girl, stop it, please. Stop. You ain't do no CPR. You ain't call no 911. You ain't call no next door neighbor. You didn't call the father so he could come get his kids to give you a break. You murdered those kids. Hell out of here.
No, when he started looking like that and started doing that.
So did he stop breathing when you tried CPR?
No, he stopped before that.
So he stopped breathing and you tried to do
looking at
CPR?
him and he's going.
Okay.
And I didn't hear it no more. So I'm just looking at him like, oh my God. And then, like, the food I had gave him, I had to feed him, actually. He told me his stomach hurt and he didn't want to eat. And I'm like, you're going to eat, you know. This is the night before. He said, have some pizza or something like that. And I'm like, no. I actually told him, you can't have no pizza. So I'm giving him a little healthy choice. The smart choice is It's beef stew. No. I just know I was trying to do it, and I smelled it. I saw carrots. It's just the beef stew. I saw it.
Interestingly, Mitchelle appears to be especially triggered by remembering the smell of the beef stew. Smell can be an important part of memory. Mitchelle has appeared detached while recalling most of what she did to Stephen, but the sensory experience of this specific memory may have been difficult for her to push away. Her hands reach up toward her face, which is likely an adapter behavior signaling stress.
At that point, he stopped breathing.
Yes. And what did I do?
Yeah.
Just closed the door and sat there with him for a while.
So you didn't try to give him CPR, or you did?
Oh, after he was gone, after this happened.
Okay, so he stopped breathing at some point.
Started to get.
Did you ever give him CPR?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how to do it, and I never.
So you never did give him CPR because you don't know CPR.
What do you mean?
You told me that you gave him CPR.
I'm not listening then.
That's what I'm asking. I want you to tell me.
Okay, it's like when I went to blow in his mouth. That's what I'm saying about the soup.
Mm-hmm.
Right on his nose. So I took it as you are still breathing. So I'm doing like this, and then I heard something. I'm like, that's right. You know, I'm like, get up. Yeah, up. When I'm doing like this, it's making. I can't explain it. It's just making. You know.
The officer is now trying to ascertain whether or not Mitchelle made any efforts at all to save her son's life.
Did you call for medical assistance?
After he died? No. After I stopped trying to do that, I just said yes to Juan. I was just looking at him.
Why not? Why didn't you call for somebody?
I was scared.
How did Stoney die?
My kids. Stoney, I meant to do it.
Excuse me?
With Stoney, I meant to do it. Like with Stephen, I can't even say it was an accident, but it's not. If somebody dies from what you do to them, then it's that. But Stoney, I did mean to.
Mitchelle admits that with Stephen it was an accident, but she verbalizes awareness that Stephen died because of what she did to him. Her actions show at minimum a complete reckless disregard for his life. She also admits she meant to kill Stoney and therefore has implicated herself for first-degree murder. Once she'd already killed one child and gotten away with it, killing someone else may have felt easier.
The monster that she is. That was what I was, when I seen another interview of her, she was so upset of one of the kids. And she said she meant to kill one of them, but the other one was an accident. What? So she's just going around being a mommy killer. The mommy taking out her. The exorcist is in her.
After she admits that she intended to kill Stoney, Mitchelle looks away and then looks down, putting her hand on her face. This body language likely reflects that she was feeling guilty and didn't want to see the detective's face while she was making this confession.
After you finished holding him, what did you do with Stephen's body? You what?
Put it in the freezer.
Her whisper could indicate that she is ashamed of what she did.
Did you do anything? You just put him in the freezer? Did you put some clothes on him? What did you do? You just put him in the freezer as he was?
Well, he had this Paul Frank's blanket that he really like a lot. So I just wrapped.
You wrapped him in what kind of blanket?
It's like Paul Frank. You know, the monkey Paul Frank on kids' clothing or.
That was his favorite blanket? Paul Frank?
It's like, you know, it's a name brand, it has the monkeys on it, and it was a big comforter. It was blue and white with monkeys on it. And like I heard he used to argue with them, like, don't touch my blanket, you know what I'm saying? So I just wrapped them up in there.
Mitchelle becomes tearful now and shows emotion about her wrapping her son in a monkey pattern blanket and freezing his dead body.
Is this their father?
Yes.
Okay.
They got in touch with him.
I don't know. You want them to?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let them know.
Is there any way you can find out if they got in touch with him yet? Because I know it's on the news.
You want? Would that make you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, because they're showing. Oh, it's no more comfortable. It's just they're showing the house and.
Yeah, they're getting in contact with them. They're not gonna let them see that. Your other ones. That's what you're worried about?
My kids?
Yeah.
The kids, they were with me.
I know, but they don't know what's going on, do they?
Yes.
They do?
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
I mean, their dad, can somebody
they're gonna
tell him before he sees it on news, because he knows my house and I know they were already showing it.
They're doing that now. What did you do to your daughter, Stoney?
Can I tell you what happened with her before?
No, we're gonna get to that. I just need to know what you did to her, and then we're gonna get back to what she did. Okay?
So I'll tell you what's leading up.
Tell me how you feel more comfortable. If that's how you feel more.
So I think the daughter is Stormy. If I'm not mistaken, that's the one that she can't stand. Now she also has the one child that lived, and she told her story. I found out yesterday, and I found it, and we're gonna review that also next time on maybe part 3, because part 2 we're gonna do another in the court. We're gonna do the court. But yeah, her daughter's talking. But Stormy, I believe, is the one she couldn't stand, and that's the one that she deliberately she meant to kill. She meant to take out all of them, but that's the one she got the real anger with, if I'm not mistaken.
More comfortable, you could tell me like that. But we're gonna get to that. I just kind of would rather you answer this question, and then you could tell me what, and then I'm gonna ask you what led up to it.
Okay. First, same thing. Very first thing.
Oh, let me put my description.
I punched her so hard because she was still doing that after he told me about Steven. And he said he was so scared of Stoney. I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me this? He said, because she kept saying that, don't say nothing, or she gonna beat me up and all that. Whatever, it's just. So I found out 9 months later that she had been still doing this after Steven.
When did you leave?
One day they were arguing about something, and they came in the room, and he said, don't sit next to me. I said, stop acting like that to her. It's your sister. He was like, oh, I don't want to sit next to me. She mean to me anyway. And I said, mean how? He was like, she should kick me like this. I'm like, so why you never tell me? Then he started saying my diaper. I don't know. I'm like, what do you know, it started off with Stoney. And he ended up telling me Stoney was the one that to Steven first. See what I'm saying? And I looked at her and I'm like, you sat here. We talked. We all talked to Steven together.
Mitchelle expresses more disdain for her daughter Stoney, as she claims she continued to allegedly assault Alex after she killed Steven for doing the same thing. This is why she feels more justified in killing Stoney and freely admits she did so intentionally. It's possible that Mitchelle felt very angry with herself for punishing and killing Steven after she found out that he may have been a victim first himself.
You ended up telling me Stoney was the one that to Steven first.
It does seem unlikely that if this was true, Steven never admitted that Stoney allegedly abused him during his days of torture.
So let me get this straight. So you're saying that when you told you that Stoney used to kick him and said something about his diaper.
Yeah, he
said something about his diaper. How do you get those two things out of? Because I don't see in that.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Wait, what do you mean?
told you that Stoney used to kick him.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
said
I
about
need to
his
go
diaper.
into how it came out.
Okay.
Because they did not only just him, they was taking his food. It sounds petty. They blame things on him. But I fussed at him, but it wasn't him. They take his food. Even at school, Stephen would get up and go grab his food. I'm like, y'all, I get $700 in snaps every month. Y'all eat. It's like you steal when you see him in the hallway, you take jabs at him.
The officer asked
Ooh.
Mitchelle how
When did they
exactly
go to
Alex
school?
told her that Stoney was assaulting him.
Well, he started talking about, say we're sitting on the edge of the bed, and then we're talking. And I looked at Stoney because after it happened, I told them, so if y'all did anything, I will hurt you. And they're like, we wouldn't hurt. You get what I'm saying? So we're sitting there, started talking about his diaper. And I said, when is Stoney?
So she has favoritism with her kids. She likes one of them. She can't stand the other ones. She got favoritism. But if you have favoritism with your kids, why'd you murder your baby then? Why'd you do that? I don't get that. Did she see a psychiatrist?
Kick you. He said she kicked me and I rolled. I said, as big as you are. He was like, I was little. He's talking about way back.
It's somewhat surprising that Alex recalls what occurred to him when he was still young enough to be in diapers, unless he wore diapers for an extended period of time, which could be the case. There may have been some kind of strain in her relationship with her oldest 2 children before Alex made claims about being abused.
And he's just he's talking. It's like he feels confident. He's talking, telling me everything. And it's like, I don't know what to believe. I know he's not lying because he's just going.
Okay.
I'm about to get to it. So when I said rolling, what do you mean rolling? How she roll you? You're big. She kicked the hell out of you like that to make you roll. And he says, I was little. She used to push me over with my cups and then she took my diaper off. And I said, what do you mean take your diaper off? He said, remember when I had the diapers and you could pull them off right here? She take my diaper off. She touched my butt. And I'm sitting here like, I just remember I felt hot as hell.
Here it seems like Mitchelle is describing how her uncontrolled anger and rage starts to build to a point where she doesn't think, she just reacts. This is typical of people with severe anger management issues. They go into blind rages and do things that they later regret. This moment of getting hot is likely similar to what happened when she harmed Stephen prior to his death.
I just remember I felt hot as hell.
Still, this doesn't explain the murders entirely, because we know that with Stephen, the abuse went on for days. Blind rages are usually only momentary, and the person eventually comes to and realizes what they're doing. Mitchelle had time to realize what was happening to Stephen and either stop the abuse or get medical help for her son. Needless to say, there's definitely plenty of evidence of premeditation here.
And it was like, and Mom, and she did that nasty stuff too. I said, what nasty stuff? And I'm looking at her and I just walked straight up to her. She said, nasty stuff. And I walked straight up to her and I did like this, put up against the wall. I said, what the did you do? I looked at her and I said, tell me now.
So you grab her, she's still breathing because you're asking her questions.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Do you squeeze tighter where she can't breathe? What do you do?
After he told me that, it was like she was a slander.
So you grabbed harder?
Not grabbed. I just got it. I already had a good grip.
Jesus.
So I did like this. You sling somebody down. After he said what he said, I just threw her down. I kicked her. She got up, was backing up, and I asked her, oh, have you been doing this to him too? And she was like, yes.
If she was doing that to Stephen?
Yes. Did you do this? I'm looking at her, and then that's what kind of me up because Stephen was always an arm baby. People was like, oh, he hangs on your shoulder. Sony? She said yes, because he was right here telling everything basically.
Mitchelle admits that she choked Stoney while she confessed to the alleged assault. This makes it hard to judge how reliable the confession is, because she would have been fearful for her life at the time.
At what point do you kill Stoney?
I hit Stoney in the head.
With what?
Like a stick.
What was that?
And let's not forget, there was a CPS thing, right? Why wasn't the CPS people going and checking up on the kids at the house? Why do CPS do that? It seems like they take away kids that don't really need to be taken away. But the kids that are being traumatized, being abused, and everything else, they just allow them still at these houses. I don't understand that. This is crazy.
Like a stick.
Mitchelle takes a few long pauses before responding, which isn't her normal speech pattern. She struggles to say that she hit Stoney on the head, or maybe she hesitated because she was trying to remember what happened. Hitting Stoney in the head with a stick is a felony assault, as she's using a weapon to assault her.
Just a wooden stick?
Yeah, but it's thick, you know what I mean? About this long. So I had in my hand like this. And while I was talking to her,
I was really drunk at the time of getting.
Looking at her, and I'm just asking you, why did you do it? Tell me the truth. And she just came out. She was like, hurry, him. I couldn't. So I'm hitting her in her head, and I'm like, he was a baby.
How big was it? About that big?
About this. It was blue. I just started talking for a minute, and she was just quiet over here. And I just turned around and looked at her, and I went back to her. And I punched her again. And I just told her once, I just, same thing.
So he tell you some more stuff, you punch her, and then you tell her to go to her room?
Yes. No, I didn't just punch her once, though. You know what I'm saying? It went on for a while.
Mitchelle offers details that the officer doesn't ask for. This shows that she feels justified about what she did. Instead of minimizing her behavior as most suspects do, she clarifies to let the officer know it was more severe.
She was up in her room for like 2 days. I wouldn't talk to her. After the first day I found out, I did what I did by going there and give her food. And I get pissed at myself that I gave her food because y'all was stealing food from him every day. That's why he go to sleep hungry and wake up hungry. So
okay, so you give her food.
I stopped giving her so much. So I fed her like twice a day. And I didn't touch her for a while.
Let me ask you this. Did you at some point, stop giving her food, period?
What you mean?
Did you starve her?
Basically.
She said
It
basically.
went down from 2 times a day to 1, and it was only oatmeal. Oatmeal and water.
Like Stephen, Stoney didn't die in the heat of Mitchelle finding out about the abuse. She was slowly and methodically killed by being repeatedly harmed, starved, and tortured. This evidence shows another premeditated killing.
So you basically starved her, right? Is that how she dies?
No.
Okay. There's more? Tell me more.
Okay, so.
How long does this go on for?
Maybe almost 2 weeks.
That's a shame.
But the hitting wasn't.
Just a starvation?
I did mess her up that first day.
Huh?
I did mess her up bad that first day. She was still walking around, and I don't know if I was functioning, but I take her little food up to her, and I even go up and I sit in the corner and I just talk to her and I look at her like, we talk for a second. I just can't do this. And just talk about all of us and what we were supposed to be like, and I just leave the room.
This again shows Michelle's depravity, because just like with Stephen, she went from talking to these children, which is something that's done when a person is in a more calm and rational mental state, to then inflicting abuse that ultimately killed the children.
She made them
This
suffer.
is what I'm trying to get to. Tell her, give me a hug. Say, you don't love your brother? You can't tell him that. She says he's retarded.
What?
He heard her say that. He's retarded. He's annoying. Yeah. And she just went, oh. She cried because I wanted her to give him a hug. And I said, you don't love him? And she was like, no. I punched her. And I told her to say it again. She's saying no, like, it hurts you. You hate him that much. You don't want to hug him. And
So what did you do when she did that?
the blue pipe.
Excuse me?
The blue pipe, the wood thing.
Uh-huh. Was it a pipe or a stick?
Well, it was, you can, I guess you can, it's a wooden, well, I call it a pipe because if you hold it in your
rounded?
hand, yeah, and it's blue.
Where did it come from?
One of the bad parts, like, you know what I mean?
What, was it metal or was it wood?
It's wood.
And it was about a foot long?
Thick.
Okay. Okay, so you hit her with that?
Yeah, when I say thick, it was thin, but it was sturdy. That's what I'm saying. Like, it, I hit her with that.
Where did you hit her at?
I hit her in her head, mostly in her head. She had
Several times?
a lot, yes. Like, little lumps everywhere.
So she survived that assault?
Yes, and she was fine. Not fine, but she was mobile.
Okay, so what happens then?
Couple
Does
days
she go
later,
to her room?
Well, that's okay. So I'm trying to get to this part, but I'll finish this out. I'm looking at her like, what the? And I just grabbed her, and I went in the closet. Just got a towel. I just put it right here, and I put ice wrapping it, told her to get in bed and just keep it back. She asked me because she sit up. So I said, okay.
You said you go in the closet and grab a towel?
Yeah, go in the closet to wash off. And I put icing in it, put it up here, but she said it hurts. And she was sleepy, so I let her go to sleep.
She beat this baby in the head and let the baby go to sleep. You know damn well that you was not supposed to let a child go to sleep when they have an injury to the head. She knew exactly what she was doing. She is not mentally ill. She is not retarded. I hate that word retarded, but she is not that either. She knew exactly what she was doing. And they are writing down everything. Well, the trial and all that went over. This is years ago. But yeah. Honey, the mother monster. They call her the freezer mom is what they call her.
I know I told her to go to her room. And after I finished helping her with this, I went and drank.
You go drink?
Go sit in the basement. No, I don't.
You went to the basement to drink?
Yes.
Michelle may be using alcohol to cope with her emotions. She doesn't allege that she has diminished capacity due to her drinking, nor would that be a viable defense, as she can clearly recall details of the days that led to her children's deaths.
You know everything you're doing is what?
Wrong. I know that. And it's like, I can't explain to y'all in between, like crying, like, what the you doing? It's your kids. And I got right back in her face. And I like to, just the fact that you told her, I used to tell my baby, she's not going to save you. You know what I mean? Like, she's not going to save you. So he told me that, I'm telling you, he said, thank you for saving me. He said that. No, I just don't understand why you didn't tell me about her sooner, and that still wouldn't have been happening.
Michelle clearly understands right from wrong. This shows her criminal intent, or intention to commit the crime, which is relevant when charging someone with murder.
So what ended up happening?
Smothered.
Smothered. You smothered her?
Yes.
She again exhibits shame by her lowered tone of voice.
Was it that same night? You go to the basement, you drink?
Oh, no. I get like that, I'm too, no. This was a while later.
Like a day, 2 days later?
No, maybe days, because
Like how many days?
I don't know. But
So after a few days go by, right? You just go upstairs and you smother her?
no.
Okay, tell me what.
This is, I want to say after, it's like I didn't touch her again.
For a few days.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like we're going on in the second week now, and I'm just in this house now. The conversation we had about, and I smothered her.
Okay, but I want you to walk me through it. So, do you go upstairs and just say, you know what, I'm gonna smother her, and you just smother her?
No.
Or do you guys have a conversation?
She was laying on the floor. She said she
Where
was
at?
laying on the bed in her room.
Okay.
So I came in and I sat down.
So you go in her room.
Yeah, and I scared her because she was asleep, but I sat down in front of her. So you wake up, she basically wake up and saw my face, and she was like this. And I just kept asking her, are you ready to apologize?
Now, when you asked her if she was ready to apologize, what did she say?
She said, there's nothing wrong with my son, that's all I know.
Nobody's saying what's wrong with your son. What did she say, though? When you say, are you ready to apologize to, what did she say?
She doesn't want to apologize to him.
So she said no?
Yeah, but it's like, it wasn't a flat out no. It's like, I am sorry for doing this to somebody, but you're not sorry for doing that to him? This is what I'm saying. Like,
what did she say? What did she say?
She just looked at me.
So she didn't say nothing
like this. Stoney doesn't do that. She's been hard to get answers out of. She's like, you know, and I'm like, Stoney, are you
so she never said
apologize? No. She was saying no a couple days before, and that's what she kept saying no. So I'm like, are you ready to apologize to him? She just said, I'm sorry for doing it to. How are you not sorry for your brother?
She said she was sorry for doing it to what?
No, I misspoke. Not for doing it. She said, I'm sorry for doing it, period, to somebody. But you're not going to say you're sorry for doing it.
If the whole abuse story is in fact some sort of delusion, and if Mitchelle does have a history of being abused herself, then this scene that Mitchelle is describing almost seems like she's trying to elicit that apology for herself. It's possible that Mitchelle may have been having conflict with Stephen before she murdered him, and possibly also with Stoney when she targeted her. The conflict could have been related to other issues, and this may have triggered Mitchelle to choose Stoney and Stephen as the guilty ones. Since her claims of the abuse towards Alex weren't confirmed, it's important to consider the very likely possibility that Mitchelle wasn't really defending Alex. It's very possible that this tragedy that occurred in Mitchelle's home was the result of long-standing child abuse inflicted by Mitchelle onto her children. When childhood abuse is chronic, and when the parent inflicts severe forms of abuse that cause serious injury to the children, there's a risk of the parent one day going too far. The abuse can easily turn deadly, which seems to be what occurred with Stoney and Stephen. It seems that Stoney's death was more so a direct murder, unlike Stephen, who died as a result of the abuse. Maybe because Mitchelle felt that what Stoney did was worse than what Stephen did. Plus, she later learned that Stephen had been allegedly abused by Stoney. So this caused Mitchelle to see Stephen as a victim like Alex and like herself.
So you punched her?
You know, I'm sitting here thinking, where were the neighbors at? Because Mark, when you burn somebody and you burning kids, that hurts. They gonna scream. Punching them in the head, they gonna scream. You are abusing these kids. They gonna scream. Where were the neighbors at? Why nobody heard anything? You know, it lifts me apart that when someone gets abused, all of a sudden neighbors don't hear anything. It happened to me. And my neighbor worked at he was a CO. He was young, but he was a CO. And he was at work at the time, but his girl was there. And the next day, or like a few days after, I knocked on her door and I asked her, you didn't hear anything? She said, I heard a boom, boom. I said, yeah, that was him taking my head and banging it against the floor. That girl, when you hear something, call 911 because you could be saving somebody's life. The hell, man? Where were these neighbors at? What the hell?
Yes. More than once. It was basically really fast. I punched her. She actually hit me back. You know what I mean? Because I punched her so hard. Well, she reached up and she hit me back, so I slammed her on the ground. And I heard her like.
About a year ago, I was sitting in a cafe in Midtown Manhattan, trying to figure out the best AI business to start, the best way to grow my brand with AI. And you
Like this. She looked up and she was like, I didn't mean to do that. It was like a reflex. And then it's like the part is.
At least their commercials is not long.
Stoney always had a problem with fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I had a whole lot of feelings at once. I don't even think understands, but like I was actually kind of proud of her for actually hitting back. Because I've been fighting for them all my life, yo.
That too, exactly.
Hitting you and doing stuff to you, or try to fight you, and you won't hit back. And I know it sounds up, but I was actually proud of her for actually hitting back.
If this is true, it's very surprising, as most abused kids would be afraid to retaliate in this manner against someone much bigger than they are and who has control over their basic needs. It's especially surprising given that Stoney already knows her mother is capable of murdering her own child. It appears that violence was not only normalized, but encouraged by Mitchelle. According to her own report, Stoney hitting back was the moment that Mitchelle smothered her. This is purely speculation, but it's possible that in a way, Mitchelle was relieved that Stoney fought back, because that gave her an excuse to end the days of torture and just kill her.
This was the day. And it just kept going. And her shirt, it's a black shirt. I just picked it up and I put it on her neck. She really fighting back, you know what I'm saying? When you say put it around her neck, what do you mean? You tied it or you held it, you choked her? I put it on her neck, and first I was in front of her, but as we tussling and we both fell, I'm heavier, you know, and I'm holding it, but that's still not what did it. And yes, I did tie it because before I got up, I remember I tied it. And she got up too, and of course was backing up for me, trying to get away from me. You say she got going. We still in the room, and she gets up. After, yeah, she gets up and was backing away, and I grabbed the bag. Okay, you grab a bag. I just and you put the bag over her head, or you just put it in her mouth? No, I held it over her. You what? I did both. I didn't put it in her mouth. I held it over her nose. At first, you know how you, and then I put it over her head, and then up there like this.
She expresses very little emotion about doing this to her own child. Mitchelle's reenactment is very useful evidence, as it's even more impactful than just words alone.
Then what? Did she stop breathing at some point?
Yeah, that's what did it. That's what I did to kill her.
Her voice was also very low here, almost whispering.
What do you do with the body?
Yeah, I noticed her voice got real low. I wonder why. She's a monster in general, but she's a monster regardless. No matter how much force she did, what little force she did, what time she did it, where she put them, she is a straight up monster. And when I show y'all another time on part 2, her face expression, honey, y'all gonna be like, whoa, I see. Because this is just her just acting. She must just be getting prepared.
Huh? Freeze on top of Steven.
She's doing her best
I
scene
didn't
right
burn
here.
anything.
Again, she's whispering. This indicates that it's possible she felt more remorse about Stephen's death than Stoney's. This is also evident in the way she directly murdered Stoney versus Stephen, who she said was not intentional. You'd think that after the trauma of murdering her son, of being reminded of what she did to her son every time she looked at that freezer, she'd be unable to do what she did to her daughter.
Did you show them? Did you show them the body?
Yeah. Not for a while.
How long did it take before you showed?
Not even a week.
What was their reaction?
Crying a lot. She's just crying a lot. It was looking like he didn't say that. He was just.
Paying your bills on time raises your credit score, right? Wrong. In fact, this is the first of 3 major credit score lies you're being told by the big credit companies. Fall for any of these 3 lies, and it doesn't matter what you do. Getting to 720 and above will be a long.
He was looking at me, and he started crying. I asked him, "Why are you crying?" He said, "You're gonna be in trouble." And I just told him, I know I am. He told me God didn't like that. He don't like none of that stuff. That was his words. God don't like none of this stuff.
It's surprising how forthcoming Mitchelle has been about killing her 2 children, as the detective has been somewhat standoffish during the interview. The detective has leaned back away from Mitchelle and makes little eye contact as she's writing notes most of the time. Mitchelle has appeared mildly frustrated at times when she feels like the detective isn't understanding what she's trying to say, but she still kept talking. Many other people would not have opened up under these circumstances. It's possible that Mitchelle really wanted to get everything off her chest. She may have wanted to make sure her side of the story was told, especially regarding the alleged abuse of Alex. Showing Alex the dead bodies of his siblings displays her complete disregard for her children who are still living, and an inability to understand how disturbing and extremely traumatic seeing his siblings dead and frozen would be.
How could you? She showed her son the bodies in the freezer of what she did. How traumatized that baby was. I mean, like, come on. Come on now. What you doing?
It's possible that Mitchelle wanted to show Alex that his siblings paid for what she claims they did
Right.
to him. On top of that, the fact that the freezer was in a main area of their home would have meant there was a constant physical reminder to the living children about what happened to their siblings.
Oh my
Now let me
goodness.
ask you this question, because I know we went on to talk
Now,
about
you could never
all the different things that they supposedly did.
They did it.
But are you a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're always.
How much time do you
say
like?
How much?
never
How much
forget.
time do you?
Like, that's a reminder.
No, because I want you to tell me how, because you're
I'm
pretty much
always with them. It's like,
you're always with them. So
yeah.
At what point does this happen that you don't have no idea?
That's why I sat there and kept asking them. Like, Stephen will do this. If he says, "Mom, can we go upstairs and play? We want to play with our toys." And I'm like, "No, sit down here and watch a movie with us." He'd be quiet and said, "We want to play upstairs, y'all girls." Then came from Stephen. This is to get him upstairs. Then you hear a big ass boom. He's like, "What is that?" That's Stephen knocking him off the bunk bed, like straight off the top bunk bed. I didn't know all this till after that, but it's like they're brothers. Like, it was like, "Y'all girls, I don't want to watch this movie, or can we play?"
How many rooms in your house?
3.
Are you sure?
What do you mean?
How many rooms you got?
Bedrooms?
Yeah.
3.
The detective may be trying to get her to recognize the big hole in her story. When would her older kids have had the opportunity to abuse Alex if Mitchelle was always with them?
Did you, when I told you that, did you ever try to seek any type of help?
Right.
Why not?
If I did, I would have to leave them.
Not necessarily.
Right then.
Why would you have to leave them? If somebody's doing something to your child, why would they take your child from you?
Because that's brother and sister. That's brother and sister, and that's in the family, and it's like, as brother and sister.
But
So I could see that.
They would take the offender out, not the innocent party.
But then you look like, how did this happen?
Okay,
that was all in my head. Like, I want to stay with them as long as I possibly can. I knew this day was gonna come.
Do you feel what you did was wrong?
I know it was wrong.
What do you think your punishment
is wrong
should be?
in the eyes of God, okay?
In your eyes, I'm asking you, not in the eyes of God. In your eyes, do you feel like you did what you had to do?
I didn't have to do that. It was wrong. Look, I don't want to say yes, but my son told me I saved him.
Michelle's emphasis that Alex said she saved him shows that she may not think what she did was wrong despite understanding it's illegal. On the other hand, it's possible that she's lying that Alex told her that she saved him in order to justify what she did. By doing this, she can portray herself as Alex's hero.
Let me ask you this. Do you think your son has a problem?
No.
Because you said that throughout this interview.
Because this is what had me so scared.
You told me several times that your son doesn't have a problem.
He doesn't.
So why would you bring that up? Nobody's accusing him of having a problem.
Because that scares me. And how you read it back, it's like, yes, those are my words, but just to hear it like that, I don't want people to think, this is my biggest fear. When I'm gone, people are going to be unfair to me because y'all are thinking like, oh, he got to be crazy. Somebody done, his brother and his sister, he crazy. I want people to shun their kids away from him, for him and not have friends.
Her concern about what other people will think of Alex is delusional. These concerns are also extremely minor compared to the things she had him endure by killing his siblings and showing him their bodies.
Yeah, did school inquire about them stoning
and attendance, you know what I mean? And basically, I dropped them. And actually, I told them I was moving. So that's how I was able to drop them. I went up to the school and I was talking to the teachers and I actually wanted to tell. I started going into it and someone told me stop. But I was telling one of the old teachers, hey, what had happened and the security guard, but I didn't tell them that I did anything to them. I just, I'm dropping them. Try to see what we can do. I told them I was moving out of state with my brother.
Children are not legally allowed to drop out of school until between 16 and 18, depending on the state they live. In Michigan, it's 18.
Give me 1 minute. What I need you to do in the meantime, I need you to start reading these. These are the questions I asked you and the answer that you have answered. If I misquoted you or if something, Stephen, yeah, I get to that.
Well,
that's how I thought it was, and that's why I asked you, and I have it down here. If there's something here that I misquoted you, let me know, and we'll fix it, and I'll initial it. Okay, start reading that. I'm gonna step out for a second. I'll be right back. Okay.
It's like a lot of other things.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about it. I just want you to start doing this while I don't want to give you all this. We're gonna get into all the things that you want to tell me about.
I mean, I guess the important stuff is also.
Excuse me.
Important stuff is also, I guess.
No, it's all important. We're gonna get to it. Okay, just give me 1 minute, and then we can continue this. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Is there a way to see if my aunt has?
Yep, I'm gonna go check on that right now.
Could they possibly still be here?
They could. Let me go find out. Okay.
Are you allowed to tell? I know.
What do you want?
Just tell them I love them.
Yeah, she just
my kids.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Did she just say, tell them I love them? Really? Those words actually came out of her mouth? Does she even know what the word love means? What demon just possessed her to say that? Child, please.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
Okay? You need anything? Drink a little bit of water. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, drink a little bit of water and keep
like
opening
this no
up.
more.
That's right.
It's like,
I understand. I'm gonna come back to and get it off your chest, okay?
The officer steps out and allows Mitchelle to read over her answers. This is done so that later she can't claim she misunderstood the questions, or the officer fabricated her answers and didn't write what she actually stated. Obviously, the tape can also confirm what was said. Mitchelle is left alone, and as she's seeing her words, she is cursing and clearly getting nervous. It seems the reality of what she's done may be setting in. It could be that she goes in and out of moments of realization about what she did and what's happening around her. She asked the detective if she could tell her children that she loves them. So it could be that Mitchelle is actively realizing here that she likely won't see her 2 children again.
Let
me see that for 1 second. I'm sorry.
You know they were still here?
No, they're not here. They're talking to I think the aunt.
My auntie.
Yeah.
When we first came, they said that my kids and the kids were here. My kids aren't with her.
Yeah, they're with her.
But they're just gone.
They're not where I could see them, I should say.
Oh, but they still.
So we'll find out before we're all done. I'm gonna find out exactly where they're at, because right now they're talking to them, so it's kind of hard for me to say. But we'll find out exactly where they're at. So don't worry about it.
My kids are like this because they like seriously love me. If they ask you, mom, she was one of them asked you, my mom crying, but say no.
Okay.
Because it was just I told him I wouldn't. He said, "Mom, don't cry."
Okay. He said that today?
He's always said that, and he's telling me, you always telling to be a big boy. But he said, "You're a girl." And I was like, "I'm trying to. I can't push the shit, boy."
I'm gonna be right back, okay?
Mitchelle continues crying while the officer is away, which is a common occurrence when suspects are left alone. Often the reality of the situation sinks in only once they're left with their thoughts and begin to realize they're going to jail, or they realize the gravity of their actions.
I don't got a number. Okay. I'm sorry about that. How you feeling?
Well, you going to prison, baby?
Feel better to get it off your chest?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
So, you wanted to tell me some other stuff that was going on, okay?
Man, just...
In just over 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how I created this ebook using a feature called Word Genie from Designer. Firstly, when you're in Designer, all you need to do is enter.
What was going on with you?
Like, you gotta imagine that happening to a baby.
Excuse me?
You gotta imagine that happening to him. I just try to...
Let me ask you, because you're home most of the time, right? So when you're home, did you ever witness any unusual behavior between your kids?
No. Well, Tony, before he was even here, Steven and Tony didn't like each other. I'm thinking little brother, big sister stuff, But she'll tell him, Steven, stop, sit down. You sit down and he'll punch her. And I'm like, stop it, I didn't know why. That's when I felt like I didn't save Steven. You get what I'm saying? Because when he said that to me, I'm like, he actually told you that? I'm not going to save him.
So let me ask you this. Your son came to you and gave you some complaints about some things that were going on, right? Yes.
No, he didn't come to me. He didn't come to me with Steven. He came to me with Stoney because they were sitting on the edge of my bed with like a little tiff. And it didn't start out with him talking about the little mean things earlier, and then it goes, and then we went into you talking about the diaper. That's why I'm like,
earlier you told me that told you that Steven
She went from tears and all this to right back to the person she really is. This is crazy. And this cop ain't trying to hear it. She like, girl, stop. Like, I know who the hell you really are. Okay? I know who you really are. Because these police officers, they deal with this shit on the everyday basic. Like, they know. They know when you capping. You know when you capping. Poor babies, man. Poor
You
babies.
did some things to him, and you confronted Stephen, and Stephen said, "No, I didn't."
See, when you say come to you, I'm thinking you mean, because how it came to me, told me when I walked through the door. Yeah.
But at some point, he tells you something that Stephen's doing to him. Okay. And you took it upon yourself to just go off of his word. You never tried to get any type of...
I did. I talked to Stephen. We went up there and I talked to that boy.
Okay.
You know? I talked to him.
And he admitted
this.
He admitted that he did these things.
After a while, yes. After a while, yes. But he denied that.
He denied it at first, and so did Stoney. She also denied it. But after you assaulted him, right? Then he said, "Okay, I did it." After you assaulted him several times.
Yes, after a while.
Okay.
It wasn't
you severely assaulting him, not just whipping him. You were severely assaulting him.
This was just me punching him.
Well, that's not assault. You
The
punching
officer's
him?
getting clarity here to potentially argue the fact that the children's confessions may not be accurate, as they deny that they had inappropriately touched Alex until Mitchelle violently assaulted them into confessing. This makes their confessions much less reliable, as they may have just said anything out of self-preservation. This is clearly a coerced confession. It doesn't mean it isn't true, but it's certainly unreliable.
The first time you ever heard of any of these complications between your kids was the first time with Stephen.
I know they used to have the little sibling things.
But you never took it upon. You know how sometimes kids like to lie and make up things?
Yeah.
You never kind of put it to kind of observe to see who was saying what. You just took it upon yourself.
Or all the other stuff.
I mean, that's kind of a serious thing, for a kid to say, "Hey, this is what's going on." So you just went basically on his word.
I asked him.
Right.
I asked Stephen also. You get what I'm saying?
But he denied it. But after you repeatedly assaulted him, he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, I did it." Do you believe that that's? Did you ever take your son to a trained physician?
No.
To tell you, there's some signs of?
No, listen to me.
Well, I'm trying to.
They did that.
You did that?
They said they did that. Even
who did that?
They did that to him, Stoney and Stephen. And I'm sitting here, and I was even talking to Stoney, and I tell her to tell me things. It was like, "Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you that, Mom." It's like they
let me, and I'm not accusing you.
I didn't just go but
you
listen, did this, and
listen.
Mitchelle appears unable to recognize that Stephen may have only told her that he abused Alex because she was assaulting him. She feels like she got the truth out of him. In her mind, Alex is telling the truth. She already made the decision a long time ago that she believed him 100%. It would be too painful to let herself waver now, because that would mean she would have to face the fact that she killed her 2 older children for no reason. Obviously, this is assuming that Mitchelle didn't just fabricate the entire abuse story in an attempt to excuse and minimize her actions. It's important to keep in mind when analyzing this case that all 4 of these children were likely being abused in some way for a long time. When listening to the details of the case and watching Mitchelle's confession, it might be easy to assume that this was just a horrible incident. However, in these rare instances when parents kill their own children, it's almost always the case that the parent had been abusing the children for a long time, before the fatal incident. When Mitchelle was arrested, her 2 remaining children were interviewed. Both revealed to police that they were victims of physical and emotional abuse at home. Medical exams revealed that the living children had visible injuries, such as a cut above the left eye of the 17-year-old, and numerous scars on both children, including 25 scars and injuries on the 8-year-old's back. The children detailed some of the assaults they suffered at the hands of Mitchelle, such as being hit with a piece of wood, a hot curling iron, an extension cord, and burned with a clothing iron. According to them, Mitchelle refused to get any of the children medical treatment when they were hurt. Both children were turned over to Child Protective Services.
They did this to him every day, every night. It's like,
but what I'm trying to think is, if this was going on, like, where were you at all this time? I mean, because you're a good.
So the 17 years old is the oldest, and I believe that's the one that's talking out, because she has a series and she has said some things, and I have not seen it because I'm going to do a reaction video of that with you guys.
Parent, you're always home with your kids, right? So how were these things going on for so long and you did not know? I mean, they're little kids. I can see if they're adults and it happened somewhere, but they're under your roof 24/7. I mean, they don't even go to school at some point.
Right.
And there's all these things that you don't know nothing about.
Why the teachers aren't calling the CPS?
Were you ever a victim of any type of,
Yes, I was.
Okay.
When I used to always, this is what got me. I talked to my kids and my auntie and everybody. So I'm talking to them so openly about this, and it's like, I felt like I had to.
Okay. What happened in your situation?
The first time, it was a woman. My mom used to leave us with any and everybody who would watch us. You know, anybody. So that was nothing. I think I was 5, 6, I don't know. But this was a woman, and she did that to me and my brother.
Although we can't confirm that Mitchelle is telling the truth about her history of abuse, her comment about her mother is an indication that Mitchelle may have some sort of traumatic past that still affects her emotionally. If it's true that Mitchelle was abused and her abuser was a woman, then it could explain the way that she talks about Stoney, her daughter. In Mitchelle's mind, Stoney was the cause of everything because she supposedly abused Stephen, who then went on to abuse Alex. Since there was no confirmed abuse occurring between the siblings, it's a possibility that Mitchelle may have fixated on Stoney because she is female, and Mitchelle still feels intense anger towards her female abuser. We don't have information about Mitchelle's mental health profile, but there are definitely some signs pointing to the possibility of her suffering from psychosis. In a psychotic episode, a person can become paranoid, even targeting their own children. Sometimes victims of abuse repeat the cycle and become abusers themselves, especially if they never got help or support after the abuse.
So let me ask you this, because you have 4 children. Okay. Did you have any favorites? Or any? Did you prefer one more than the other? Or did you love them all the same? In your opinion?
I love them all the same because all of them had different personalities. It's just, those are my kids.
I'm just asking because some people say, oh, this is my favorite because he's the youngest, or he's my favorite, he's the oldest. But as far as you go, you love them all the same.
Yeah.
You didn't prefer one over the other.
What do you mean prefer? Like
one was closest to you, you know? You know, you always got the one that's kind of distant because maybe they want to be with their dad, or maybe they look like their dad, or for some reason they're just distant. And then you always got one that's closer, who always wants to be next to you.
We were all, that's all we did. That's why I don't understand.
You guys
spent a lot of time together.
How would you categorize your relationship between Stoney and you?
I guess just like the rest of the kids.
You love them all the same?
Yeah, it's a little different because you start to, I think, learn them, you know what I mean? And they change.
Right, they start changing, they start getting a little attitudes.
Yeah. No, attitudes, just period, changing. You're like, okay, well, you know how you just.
And that's what I'm asking. Did you have, maybe they were disobedient more than the others, so you like these guys more than the other guys?
Kids.
They were all good kids?
That's like, great, right, that's why everybody.
So is there any other reason other than what I told you that made you do what you did?
That's it.
So if he would have never told you these things, Stoney and Stephen would still be here today?
They had never.
Okay.
He didn't. It's not. He just told me.
How do you discipline your child? How do you discipline your children?
Not good. I have a problem with that too.
What do you mean by not good?
Just whooping them, and it's like, you know how what's appropriate for a child. It's not.
You whoop your children?
Yes.
To the point of abuse?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes.
So you hit that way as well?
Yes, and it's. I can't explain it.
Oh, you
This shows that
explaining
the
it right,
tragic
girl.
ending of her children's lives was the likely culmination of years of abuse. Abusive parents who end up seriously injuring or murdering their
Where was
children
the
will often
father?
engage in emotional, verbal, and physical abuse
I'm on.
long before the final tragic incident. Mitchelle seems to understand logically that her behavior is wrong, yet she may be unable to control her anger. She appears to be suffering from significant issues relating to her own childhood trauma. Most people with trauma backgrounds do not kill other people, but of those individuals who kill another person, most of them do have a history of trauma in their own childhood. While her crimes against her children are horrific, her profile doesn't necessarily fit with that of a psychopath, and her behaviors are conflicting. On one hand, she's accepting responsibility for what she did and appears to be truthful during the interview, while on the other hand, she demonstrates a long history of deceitfulness and lying, which are psychopathic traits, as she kept the murders of her 2 children a secret for years. At times, she exhibited impulsive behavior and extreme aggressiveness. While she did admit that what she did was evil and wrong, she didn't express remorse or regret for the suffering she caused Stephen and Stoney.
Have you killed anyone else?
No.
You can look in her eyes and tell her she has no remorse. A person's eyes tells it all. A person's eyes tells it all.
What type of discipline you think you should get?
Those are my kids.
If you could do it all over again, would you change anything?
I'll say yes.
I doubt it. I doubt it, y'all.
The only reason I'm gonna say yes is because I would get to stay with them.
When you say them, do you mean all of them or just?
No, because regardless how I was thinking, if that happened, you mean the same situation happened, would I make the same choice?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I want to stay. You know?
But you don't really care about the other two.
No, I do. I would have made a different choice.
What choice would you have made?
I tried to go somewhere. I said, he's never said that to me before. So for him to say that,
when did he say that to you?
This was after it happened.
Alex telling her that she saved him seems to be enough peace of mind for Mitchelle. Almost like she's satisfied with what she did because she was able to prevent her son from suffering continued abuse.
If I brought in here, right, and I asked him pretty much the same question I'm asking you as far as the events that took place.
Ask him. You don't even have to have him in front of me. Ask him.
Is he going to tell me the same thing you're telling me?
He has to. You got to listen to him.
Has he ever lied to you?
Yes.
About what?
Little things.
Like what?
He'll lie and then, okay, let me go on to something else. The thing was, in the lying, I don't like that.
Well, he does lie.
Yeah.
And you don't like it?
No. So, that's like the only reason I ever would.
Do you know the difference between a lie and the truth?
Yes, definitely. You mean, does he know the difference?
No, I'm asking you, do you know the difference between a lie and the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
so, and you're familiar with like a white lie versus?
There's no such thing.
Thank you for joining.
Okay, a lie is a lie.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you familiar with the difference between
this case is crazy.
a chronic liar or somebody that a habitual liar? Yeah. Are you familiar with somebody that habitually lies or somebody that lies? For example, if I say, "Hey, do you like this dress on me?" and you're like, "No," but you don't want to make me feel bad, so you're like, "Oh, it's nice," but you're really lying because it looks terrible.
Right.
Right. You're familiar with the difference.
That's so you won't hurt. Yeah.
Right. Like a small lie versus somebody that lies all the time.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
In your opinion, how would you categorize yourself?
Her babies in the freezer.
None of those.
None of those. He never lies?
No, he does. But I wouldn't.
Them.
Excuse me. Like just little things.
The officer is getting it on record that Mitchelle knows right from wrong and a white lie from a lie. This again will make it harder for her to make an insanity defense.
Ms. Blair, what's on your mind?
It's like so much that happened to you. It's like you gotta go and fuck up. You had enough mother. Your brother and sister did this to you, and I just want to make sure they are. And he's the littlest one. I want to make sure be okay. That me up when I was younger. But I know, all I know is this. You know, I did something about it. Even though it was tough, I just want to know, like, you are important. Like, you do matter. That shit was happening to you all that time, and you didn't know, and I'm sorry, and I'm like no matter what, they can kill me, and that's the part. This is what I do know. And I'm already told the kids, I'm dying now, you know. It doesn't matter. But I won't, like, you're going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Do you consider yourself
so sweet?
You consider yourself a tough mom? I mean, you're tough, right? You're gonna.
It's over the.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before about the sanity case. They're gonna make sure that she can't plead with that.
And it's like I'm just tired of this. Just he too good, just not so they both are just to let this. I used to be a really good kid, you know what I mean? I tell my daughter all the time, I was just like you, like how she is. She confident, she quiet. People mess with her, so okay, it's like, so let them talk. I'm the one like, they mess with you, I'm, you know, about to go beat the ass. Don't mess with them. It's like I was like that, and it's gone. It's nobody's fault. It's gone. But I was like that, and I don't want them to. I just know. I told my mom. She said, "What the do you want me to do about it? It's over with now."
This means that it's likely that Michelle's mother never validated her feelings about the trauma she experienced, which makes the emotional damage even worse. It's like trauma on top of trauma when a parent doesn't validate the child's feelings. Even if it's been decades since the abuse occurred, Mitchelle was likely never able to process her emotional pain, and it's very likely that this led to her maladaptive behaviors in adulthood, such as her uncontrolled anger, inability to control her emotions, and abusive parenting that turned fatal. Mitchelle likely sees herself as a better mother than her own because she did something when Alex told her he was being abused. It's important to keep in mind that many adults struggle with histories of childhood abuse. This doesn't mean that if they relive the trauma somehow as adults that they will murder anyone like Mitchelle did.
That's all I know. I told him, you get older, if you, anybody, girls, men, anybody try to make you feel like you ain't. Do you see what I did for you? That's not. That's because
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out once you finish reading. I'm gonna find out where they're at, and that way you can, feel secure that they're in good hands. Okay.
You murdered them.
Okay, but I need you to look at that statement to make sure that everything's accurate. Okay.
What's you supposed to be, Supermom?
And then we'll go from there.
The hell?
I already know what I sound like. I know up. No, nobody myself. The normal part of me, I can see myself talking right now. I can't. You're not literally, but if that was me, I totally understand what it looks like, and I've been.
Ms. Blair, nobody's judging you here. Okay, something happened, and you felt you did what you had to do.
Really?
No matter what or what everybody think.
Now that
I hope
not
don't take that
as a cop.
when he gets older and go crazy with it. I just want him to, and I would try to explain to him, you don't hurt people. He told me, God's not happy. He doesn't like stuff like that. I said, I know. And I told him I'm going to hell. Period. That's what happens. So sometimes you can't lie. You can't fight with people. If people call you stupid, if people call you this, it's like I'm trying to cover bases with them. You just let it go because you know you was important. You're important. It's like something like that happens. And like, you don't have to feel like he was crushed or like nobody's gonna give a about him.
Mitchelle signs the notes taken by the officer, swearing that they're accurate. This is less necessary than it was years ago, since almost all interrogations are videotaped, but it's done here to avoid retractions or allegations that the officer lied or misconstrued the suspect's words in her notes.
Can you give me 1 second, okay?
Following the interrogation, Mitchelle was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. An examination of the bodies revealed that 9-year-old Stephen died from blunt force trauma and what was described as thermal injuries in 2012, while 13-year-old Stoney was killed in 2013 from blunt trauma to the head. Mitchelle kept both of the bodies in the deep freezer in the family's living room for around 3 years until their discovery when she was evicted.
And she belonged in hell with the rest of the rest of the demons. That was our reaction video for the Freezer Mom. You know, I have seen a lot of stuff, and I could say this is the worst, most horrifying case. But I'm sorry to say, I'm sure there's more just like this. And that's the saddest thing ever to say, but it's true. And probably more worse things. How could you, though, do this? I could never understand. Why the neighbors and the teachers and the CPS workers are not involved? I could never understand. Christmas is this weekend. And those 2 babies have missed another year of Christmas, Thanksgiving, and their birthdays. Because their mother decided that it was best to beat them to death and put them in a deep freezer for weeks on. Wow. That's why I say to my kid, be grateful for what you got. Because others, kids, are not even here to be grateful at all. Thank you for joining another reaction video of another crime case to Brooklyn Squad, real life drama, real life crimes. And until then, I will see you again. Please be safe and enjoy your weekend. Peace.